All right, whenever you're ready.
We're
okay,
live.
It's starting. Welcome to another edition of Why Come Japan. I'm your host, Mr. Radry, where I introduce creatives or, talk about creatives. We talk about the creative process and the craft. On my show today is Mr. Simon no茶の間. Simon?
Cue laughter, cue applause.
Oh, sorry. we gotta, what is it? We got applause. Hey, welcome to the show.
Welcome to my show. Welcome to the Simon no茶の間show. And thank you, Bob.
Okay. It's a pleasure to be here, people. Oh, wow. There's an echo.
Yes, we had to draw straws for who was going to ask first. But I believe Bob, otherwise known as Radry, who some of you may know, if you've been on YouTube as long as he has. And those that haven't, this is Radry. Look at his channel and oh, hello, totally ASMR. Oh, that's Bernie, not the other ASMR. Hello, Bernie. Right.
You go to my channel, push buttons.
Yes, click like.
Do things.
Make him make videos.
Yeah.
Yes, you can ask first. I can't remember who's going to go first.
So this is our first ever join episode, where we're going to ask each other
going to be more
questions. Okay. So I guess, should we flip a coin, see who goes first?
All right. Hang on, a coin.
I could probably get one on my iPhone, flip a coin app.
Okay. All right, I have got 20 cents.
You got 20 cents?
I've got 20 euro cents. There we go. Heads or tails?
Heads.
And it is heads. You may choose.
Does that mean you go first?
No, that means you choose. You decide.
Oh, okay.
back to you.
All right. Okay, your turn.
Oh, God.
Go ahead. You go with the first question.
Right. This is to the bone. I'm sorry. It's the first question, and it's the one I've written in pencil on this piece of paper that is legible.
The best kind.
I was plowing through both channels, your channels, all videos, as part of my research, and on one of them I came across you. Well, I would come across you, and you were talking about the difficulty of making friends in Japan. This was in 2010. It's now 2018. Can you give us an update?
2010. I remember this video. Difficulty making friends in Japan. You mean in terms of how to make friends in Japan, or if I've made friends in Japan?
Yes, I mean, I think the gist of the original video was that you found it difficult and possibly you were unsuccessful at that time. I'm just wondering whether in the intervening years this has changed for the better or for the worse.
That video came out in 2010?
2010. I think it was possibly even a video every day in September.
Oh, one of those vid things. Yeah. I was trying to do a vlog every day where you
think of anything.
You get creatively bankrupt by the end of it. Yeah, no, I mean, that was 2010. That's like my infancy. It's 2018 now. It's like 8 years later. I mean, a lot of it's just getting out of your house, getting out of your comfort zone, meeting people you wouldn't normally meet, putting yourself in situations that just make you uncomfortable. Yeah, that's basically it. That's all I can really say. I mean, kind of like with this podcast, what kind of gives me a chance, I mean, the Why Come Japan podcast, not your show. I'm going to have to constantly refer to that again and again. But anyway.
I make you feel uncomfortable. I admit it. I'm sorry.
Congratulations. It's the awkward channel. Like, you've succeeded if you clearly have made me awkward or not. Cringe level plus 100. No. So, I mean, yeah, a lot of it's just getting out of your comfort zone. I mean, that's kind of why I started the podcast, Why Come Japan. A lot of it was, for my comfort zone, to talk to socially to other people, meet other people, have kind of it as an excuse to talk with people, because podcasts, it's the in thing nowadays. Everybody has a freaking podcast.
I've never regarded my show as a podcast, but then I mean, all this work that I do with pictures, and there's people sat there not watching and just listening. I was like, bloody hell, come on.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I put the show on iTunes. So, I mean, I know some people don't listen. And some people actually do enjoy the live feed. They like watching faces. So, I mean, I have both options. So, that's right. You can go down below and click the link to get to the iTunes link. You can do that, everybody.
Which I did not put on my channel. I'm terrible. So you would have to go to his channel.
Okay.
Well, you know,
all right.
I mean, we're not, but we're not broadcasting simultaneously. It's all here. It's all happening here. So afterwards, it'll be edited and put onto his channel. But yes, but did that answer my question? So now, can you count on the fingers of your hands more friends than you had in 2010?
Does my girlfriend count?
Well, is she listening? Mickey, do you count?
It depends what you consider a friend. Is like a friend somebody like you actively meet up with outside of like work or school or something?
Generally speaking, yes. I mean, most of my friends live in completely different countries, and I have none here. So,
well, I mean, a lot of it just comes down to just scheduling time just to meet them sometimes. I mean, because you've seen on the show, I interview a lot of my friends who do creative things here in Japan or outside of Japan for that matter. And a lot of it just becomes arranging a time just to meet. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, there's nobody I can just call up on the phone, just like instantly start chatting with. I mean, maybe yourself, but it's just thanks to social media. I don't really need to constantly be messaging somebody or constantly meeting up with someone in real life, you know.
Yes, it's very cost effective.
Yeah.
Yeah, saves on your budget friendly friends.
Indeed. All right, so I guess it's
now
my turn.
Cast the ball back to Bob.
All right. I guess for a little context, he keeps calling me Bob. Bob is the evil entity in Twin Peaks, if anybody doesn't know that already.
It just sounded good.
It did sound good? Okay. Well, it's a nice palindrome, because that show's all about palindromes. Words that spelt backwards and forwards the same way. Like, wow, Bob, wow, or... Madam, I'm Adam.
Here. Asagi.
Hey,
Asagi.
Yay. Yay.
You have your chance to ask to formulate your question.
Yeah. It's no longer all old dudes. Actually, I'm not that old. I don't know. Maybe you're not that old either. I mean, I don't know why you use the moniker 3 old dudes.
Well, relative to the general YouTube crowd, I mean, yes, relatively speaking, we are old. I am, and Robert was, and Dean is. Robert still is. But yes, that's
you consider it a platform for like 20-year-olds or something, or 19-year-olds?
Anybody between the ages of 18 and 40. And after 40, they're so busy with their careers and life and kids, and that they're not really on YouTube.
Yeah, that's true.
Watching, so there's just like 20 and 30 somethings and sort of some middle-aged people.
Yeah, I mean, you could look at your demographics and like what kind of people watch your videos. I mean, it's like usually.
I was going to say I have a long bar of 18 to 24 males.
Okay.
And a short but quite thick bar. I don't know what it means. Of women between the ages of 35 and 65. So I'm quite happy with the short, thick bar. But anyway, yes, where were we?
Yeah, no, we're talking about how being old on YouTube. Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of it, yeah, you're right. There's a lot of people that aren't kids. A lot of them don't really have free time, and they'd rather be focusing on something else. You know, like whenever, because like for little kids, I mean, they have nothing else to do. You know, just browse YouTube for hours on hours, and hopefully their mom doesn't find some of those ridiculous kids cartoons with how would I even define those? syringes and pregnancy and do you know what I'm talking about? You remember that? Like nursery rhymes? There's like word salad. Like they have these videos where they're a mixture of nursery rhymes, like teen pregnancy and syringes and fecal matter.
And when Bob was a child, he used to watch these kind of videos.
No, I mean you've heard about this story, right?
Yeah, vaguely. Yes.
And I mean, YouTube really had to double down on getting rid of these videos. No, they did. I mean, like they got rid of all of them. They had like all these bad actor videos and all this automated what is it? All these automated videos based upon like what was popular and what kids were watching. Like some of them were quite scary. Just like you'd stumble upon these videos if like you just put on one kid's video and you just let it go, you know, because you know when you stop one video on YouTube, it immediately cuts to the next video, right?
If you don't have that option switched off, which I did, yeah.
Oh, that's good. Well, I don't have that switched off because sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. It's like autocorrect on your phone, you know. Sometimes you want it, sometimes you don't. All right, so yeah, it's my turn. All right.
Yeah, just Asagi was asking whether we talked about the party yet. We shall get to it, Asagi. Yes. I asked before the show, but we shall talk about it for your benefit shortly. Yes, carry on.
AMA session. Ask me anything. All right, so I got to know what are the Simon no茶の間 origins? What got this started? Why is it a living room?
Why is it a living room? This is a living room because prior to this, I was in a show with one of the audience members here, Robert, called the Three Old Dudes, and that was not in it was in the same room I'm in now, which is not my living room. It's one of my upstairs bedrooms, and he was doing it from his living room, and I think Dean was doing it from his kitchen. So there was no living rooms per se involved, and we were just doing random stuff, and that kind of came to a natural end. And I still wanted to carry on, but I wanted to do it in a more of an interview style than we'd been doing on Three Old Dudes. And I thought,
how is Three Old Dudes different from Simon no茶の間then?
I sent you the links to watch.
Yeah, I watched some of them. It's like I don't know, like word jazz kind of. It's like you talk, then they talk, then he talks, then she talks, and then you look at the chat, and then they talk. The end.
Yeah, I mean, basically that's what a live hangout is.
I guess so. It's like being in a chat room and having no frame of reference, but at least there's a beginning and an end to it. At least I can start and stop it at certain places.
Well, I mean, and it largely involved as just seeing how I'm going with the flow and seeing how it went, which would sometimes work out well and be quite humorous and hilarious, and other times we'd be left there floundering and wondering why not many people were watching. So when we decided to call it a day, but I wanted to carry on, I decided it would be better to have something more substantial, more structured, more in the way that somebody would want to watch and listen. I mean, I know there were loyal viewers, hi Nosh, of the show, and some of them have carried over onto this show. But if I wanted to, go a new direction, what direction would that be? And that would be having guests round. And where would you have your guests? You'd have the guests round in the living room. And as I was telling you before the show, my YouTube friends Mashumara and Rena Berry, they were on one of the last Three Old Dudes live hangouts as guests, and became one of the first guests on my new sort of format. And I was obviously in contact with them, and Rena was quite enthusiastic about it and suggested the idea of the living room, which I then took on board. And the reason it's a Japanese living room is because most of my guests are largely based in Japan, whether they're sort of J vloggers or have other activities over there. So I stuck with the Japanese theme, and the no chanama. That's to do with it's actually used on Japanese TV in cozy family shows, where it's an old term for living room, and it's evokes fond memories and fond ideas of coziness. So it's supposed to be a cozy living room. But at the moment it's populated by creepy rabbits, but that's another story.
It looks pretty great. It looks pretty cozy. I mean, I'd like to live there. I mean, it is a little disturbing having like huge mannequin-esque rabbits in your living room. That'd be a little unsettling, but I could live with it.
That was exclusively for this show. I mean, it will revert back next week to a rabbitless living room.
Make me feel like I'm Jeffrey Dahmer, but other than that, it'd be all right. Not Jeffrey Dahmer. Who was the one that set people up like mannequins? There's some serial killer who did that.
Oh.
People in the comments, help us out.
Help us out. Yeah, all your favorite serial killers. Name them now.
All I can think of is that movie Maniac, where he killed all people. He killed all these people and he set them up like mannequins, and that's fictitious, so that's not real.
Hmm. Oh, apparently, I've just learned something new. Whether this is correct or not, sorry to interrupt, but
no, go ahead.
Rabbits are not rodents; they are lagomorphs or legomorphs. Somebody Google that to confirm it for me. Nosh, who's no longer in New York. He's back in San Francisco. I got it correct this time, not Los Angeles, San Francisco. And it's very early morning there, so this is very dedicated viewing. One of my dedicated viewers, lagomorphs. Yeah, sorry. Where were we?
Any relation to Animorphs? Animorphs. You don't know Animorphs?
That sounds. It's probably some obscure anime thing that I don't know about.
I'm guessing. No, it's not anime. Maybe it's only something I would really know because I was a kid growing up in the '90s, and they had like these serialized kid. Maybe they weren't serialized. I don't know. But there were a bunch of these kids' books where a bunch of kids transformed into animals, and they called them Animorphs.
Okay.
I'm guessing that has nothing to do with Lagomorphs. That's a weird name. I've never heard that one before.
It was an American kids' book series, says North.
Yeah, it was.
That's probably why I've never heard of it.
It was like one of those books you see at like Barnes & Noble or like one of these chain bookstores, and you loved looking at the pictures, but you never actually read any of the stories. Like that, and like they had the other series, Goosebumps, if you know about that.
I've heard of Goosebumps, yes. Heard of it, not seen it. My American kids book knowledge stops at Dr. Seuss.
Okay, well, Dr. Seuss is pretty good. I mean, he's a little, I don't know. What is I don't like about him? I'll have to think about it later. I mean, I do like a lot of his stuff. There's something, maybe it's his cynicism. I don't know. I like children's books.
You don't like cynical children's books, okay?
I do like cynical children's books. It's just like his cynicism in particular bothers me. I'm not sure what it is. I have to think about it, but that's a topic for another day.
Okay.
All right. So I guess is it my turn? Was it your turn?
It kind of started out as your turn, but I think I usurped it. I'm not quite sure.
All right.
No, well, you asked me about what was the whole deal with the living room thing. That's right, and we kind of like went along from there and got lost.
All right, then I guess it's your turn.
Yeah, so I shall go from one Lynchian reference to another now. I hope people don't. I hope there's no sensitive vegans in the audience, but here we go. Yes,
that should be my new YouTube name. Sensitive vegan.
Vegan. This backdrop is from the first, I'm not quite sure the first mainstream, the first big film of one of Bob's favorite filmmakers.
Name that movie.
Name that movie. Audience, can you name the movie? We'll just wait and see when anybody can has any idea what this clip is from, or this GIF.
So, have you seen that movie, Simon?
Not in its entirety. No.
You never seen it in its entirety? Oh man, I remember it was so hard to find this movie back then, like before they had DVD and the internet.
Chicken Disaster. No, not quite sure.
Chicken Disaster. The movie. No, I remember back then because I worked at a video store and it was the only place you could find it in my entire state
I can
of
see you
Colorado.
behind the counter of the video store, yeah, recommending things to, to people. No, you don't want that. You want to try this.
Actually, I never said anything like that. I used to, because we had like a wall where you just put up like movies you want to see, and I never really talked to anybody. Yep, totally ASMR, got it.
Razorhead. Yes,
Yep,
I was going to do this disgusting baby that like with like stuff bursting out of its chest, but I decided not to do that and just have the random chicken thing. Yeah,
YouTube is they're going trigger happy with getting rid of videos and demonetizations, all that stuff. Not like this video is monetized, but they make sure we're sucked clean into a vacuum.
Hello, Zach. Hello, nice to see you. Another party goer who has not posted any photos, and I'm currently awaiting pictures, and I'm sure Asagi is as well.
Actually,
all those of us not get there. So
I have a creep. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
You have a creeper. No, what?
I have a creepy ass picture of Zach on my phone. If you want to see it.
Yeah, I'll shut up. No.
All right. Here you go. This is like something you put on your Facebook profile. Here you go. Yeah, it's a winner there. All right. Thanks, Zach. Thanks for posting for that lovely photo.
No, Asaki wasn't at the party. She was at the works outing thing, and she was asking if she's still there. Yes. So basically, the reason I have this like dead chicken spouting blood here is Eraserhead, David Lynch. The rabbits were also a David Lynch reference, and Bob being a David Lynch reference. So there's a big David Lynch theme going on here, and that's largely due to this gentleman and his appreciation of this filmmaker. And my question is, and I've written down here, I must have been drinking when I wrote this down. Is
there whiskey all over it or something?
Lynch is like the American version of Ingmar Bergman. Would you agree?
I've never actually watched Seventh Seal. I really feel like I should sit down and watch it one of these days.
You should watch the Spring and the Seventh Seal and Persona and things like that.
Wild Strawberries.
Yeah. And I watched one particular film of Bergman's, which will give you an idea why it's sort of kind of Lynchian. It's about a woman with tuberculosis who goes on a train journey with her son and her sister. Her sister is lesbian and is in love with her older
Persona?
Sister. No, that's two women who share a house and one takes over the other's personality.
That's not the title. Or maybe it is. And
no, that's not the title. The title of the film with the woman with tuberculosis on the train. But it's very bizarre. They stop at a hotel, and the little boy, her son, goes and plays with a troop of circus dwarves in the corridors of the hotel. It's very bizarre.
Sounds like a Werner Herzog movie. All right, if you know who that is.
But anyway, yes, I mean it's very, in that sense, it's very kind of off the wall, which is how I would describe Lynch. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, he's definitely one of the more bizarre American filmmakers out there. I mean, he recently just made Twin Peaks season 3, which was amazing, but not for everybody. I have to remind people that it's kind of like watching his movies is kind of like looking at an MC Escher painting, or is it MC or is it EC? I think it's MC, right? You know who I'm talking about, MC Escher?
The guy where you go up the stairs and keep going and it goes, yes, it's all very difficult.
Yeah, the one that's in Harry Potter, and then there's also the ones with like the two hands that are drawing themselves, and it's like a lot of his quintessential movies, they're made to be impossible, So it's like a lot of it is just there's no real meaning to his movies, but there's definitely a tone. I mean, maybe you can grasp and understand a certain part of a story with some of his movies. I think only like a couple of his projects you can grasp. There's like a few where there's like a beginning and a middle and end, but there's others they're like like nightmares.
Yes. I mean, it's probably why I've not watched them often. I mean, I can watch a Bergman film and not get nightmares. I mean, put it that way. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's Bergman and Tarkovsky. It's just I kind of have to really be in the mood for that kind of stuff. It's like, oh boy, can't wait to watch me some, nostalgia where a guy carries a candle halfway across the room for 15 minutes. Have you seen that
Yes.
movie, Nostalgia?
No, I've not seen that, but yes, if you watch Stalker by Tarkovsky, it's also a bit like that. It's very grim and dreary and slow and Russian.
Yeah, I never saw Stalker either. I really need to up my game on the the Tarkovsky. Anyway, Nasha Broad. Oh, that's his name. Okay, sorry, I was trying to send some of that here. All right, does that mean it's my turn?
It's your turn. Yes, I'm curious.
Yeah. All right, so we got to count up the
I shall
awkward
return to my
silences.
living room with the rabbits briefly.
All right.
Oh, I know what. I'll go back to my Simon no茶の間, if I can correct my green screen, which is this bloody sunlight. This sun is a useless lighting source. There we are.
All right, my turn. Okay, you got to tell me, Simon, what happened to the 3 old dudes hat? You still got it lying around somewhere, right?
Oh, yeah.
You have it. We need technical difficulties.
It's still
Oh,
here.
there we go.
There you go. I shall not wear it.
Why don't
For the
you wear
sake
the hat
of, the sake
anymore?
of continuity with the current show. But yes.
Is there a reason why you don't wear it anymore?
Hey, Joe. I don't wear it anymore. No, I haven't actually worn it since the last 3 Old Dudes show, which was sort of end of March, I think. So yes, I mean that was just.
There's no real story behind it. You just retired it.
Real story. I mean, I bought it when I was an art student, as art students are wont to do. I was at a car boot sale, and I saw that, and it was only like $5 with a box, and I thought, oh God, I'll have that, and then stupidly wore it in public, walking around, and you can imagine sort of the reaction of most people. And then stopped wearing it shortly afterwards, and then wore it again only for the show, which was like 20 years later.
You stop wearing it just so you can stop being ostracized.
Well, yes, when you're walking down the middle of your hometown wearing a leather jacket and a top hat, and a truck goes past, and the guy leans out and goes, "Arsehole." you kind of like think, oh right, maybe I better not wear it.
Who cares? I guess so. I don't know. I guess it was more of a character for the 3 Old Dudes persona.
Yeah, basically. Right? I mean, when I dreamt up the series, I needed to make a sort of announcement advert for it, and I thought, what can I do? I don't want. I'll wear dark sunglasses and wear a hat because I don't want to be me. Particularly, and it kind of stuck, that and bananas. Yeah,
that's right. You used to always have banana in that show.
Yeah, that was largely due to Tomoko Des, because I was a big fan of Tomoko Des, and Victor always used to have on like a song on the start of his videos. Tomoko Des, right, banana. So I got a banana on there, and I've since become friends with it.
So
it was a homage.
Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah. Oh, good to know. You heard it here, folks. You're at Why Come Japan / Simon no茶の間 living room. All right, Phoenix 787 asks, why did 3 Old Dudes stop? I lost track of everything around April.
Well, it stopped around April, which is probably why you lost track after that, because there were none after that. It was a parting of the ways amicably. Dean had basically was tired of being sort of
an old dude. You want to be young,
just appearing as a model on the show. I used to even have to resort to a cardboard cutout puppet. Seriously, a cardboard cutout puppet of Dean sometimes when he wasn't on the show. And
so it kind of became a scheduling conflict.
Scheduling and interest. Just, kind of...
it's like loss of interest.
Yeah. It kind of run its course in terms of, yes, there's only so much, like you said, it was a sort of he talks, she talks, they talk. When you've got about like 6 or 7 people all talking and it's going nowhere, kind of kind of wears thin after 5 years every week. So
damn, you've been doing it that long? Man, it doesn't
yeah.
feel that long at all. It feels more like a year or two or something.
Oh no, it's been I was looking back. I sent you some links to some older episodes.
Right, I was watching some of those. I guess I didn't really look at the date. I just saw who it was and like, oh, Rachel and June's Rachel from Rachel and June's on this episode. Oh, that's cool. I'll watch some of it. That sort of thing. Okay, so a lot of it with your other co-host, it was just kind of loss of interest.
Yeah, I mean, or change of interest. Like Robert became more interested in what he's doing now, and Dean kind of lost interest, and I wanted it to be more like the show I'm doing now.
And you're like, this is my jam, right?
Yeah, kind of thing. And then towards the last couple of episodes of some of Three Old Dudes, I'd had Starlet Shay and I'd had Mashu and Rena on as guests, and I'd kind of like basically done what I was doing now, and done research, done questions, got them, coordinated with them, and thought, well, I can carry on doing this. So that's what it was.
Interesting.
Awkward silence. Yeah, this is where you hold up things.
Yeah, this is where it's your turn.
Oh no, with the applause and the.
Oh right. We got an iPhone app. Everybody go download the Pocket Sitcom right here.
Japanese library. Oh, hey.
That was a good one there, Simon. That's good.
Light in Japan is here.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Right. So we've established that that Lynch is kind of like Bergman. So
I doubt anybody.
Let's get. Where are we? We're halfway through. Let's get to the. I mean, why come Japan? I mean, I could ask you the same, but we'll get to the.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's what the show's called.
Yeah. But I mean, well, not mine anyway. But
the conversation.
Yes. Nosh abroad. What's the matter? Oh, you're going. Good night, Nosh. We've bored Nosh silly. It's very early in the morning, and
I think I got a snooze sound effect. Let me see if I can find it. All right, let me see. Oh, no, I can't find it. Oh, here you go. There you go.
There you go, Nosh. Thanks for coming anyway.
All right. You ruined the show. No, I'm joking. I'm joking, Nosh. You're joking. I'm joking.
So, your dream. I plowed through Tokyo Bananas, and which is Radley's other channel, by the way. So Google that or type that in the search bar and find out all the bits that you never saw on his own channel. Is
that the more revealing channel?
That's the more revealing channel. Yes.
Interesting. Yeah, I just started that as a sister channel, just like to upload stuff. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I just put it up in there.
So
that's why I put that commercial.
Don't say too much about you don't know what you're doing before I've asked this next question.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Have you, since coming to Japan, and one of the reasons for coming to Japan was this, have you been able to realize your dream of making a film in Japan successfully, sort of that has actually appeared?
Well, I don't know. Let me give it to you in terms of a metaphor. So imagine, your life is like a car, right? You have to turn on the car and you have to get it started and you have to drive down the road. And you have to keep driving it. Otherwise you die for some reason, right?
Like speed.
Yeah.
You are Keanu Reeves in the car. Yeah, okay.
But every day is like Groundhog Day and you just go through the same road every day. But then you start looking out your window and then you say, hey, that place is kind of cool. I want to go up there. But the problem is it's really rocky or it's really, really icy. You're like, oh, I might crash my car if I drive up there, but I have to be careful. Like, maybe I'll just stay here. I'll just stay on this road. I'll just keep going. Let's see where this takes me. Fast forward to 8 years later, you're still on that road. You're like, maybe I should take that rocky and icy road.
So yes, it's still there. But
Yeah.
it's in the glove compartment.
Yeah, Chekhov's gun. It's in the glove compartment. No. Literary references for the win.
Yeah, not Star Trek, but the other Chekhov. Yeah.
In all seriousness, yeah, no, I mean, it is possible to make a film in Japan, and I know all the connections. I have all the people. It's just, I mentioned on a previous podcast, a friend of mine asked me what's going on with the whole filmmaker thing here in Japan. Is I just really feel like I need to be careful when it comes to making something, because as I said, I don't want to repeat myself, but I mean, for context, I kind of have to. A lot of the problem with making a movie is, or at least when I read this book by Margaret Mehring, who, really good book about writing a screenplay, is, maybe it wasn't Margaret Mehring, it might have been William Golding, if you know who that is.
Yes, Lord of the Flies chap. Yeah.
Not William Golding, what's his name?
Oh.
William Goldman, the guy who did, not Golding, William Goldman, the guy who wrote Marathon Man and Princess Bride and several others. So he said once, is like, a movie basically all gets written in a screenplay, right? You write everything in a screenplay, and then eventually, once you start shooting it, there's just so many variables, so many things change. And by the time you're done shooting the movie, you're done getting what you want, and you get to the point of putting it back together to where it's supposed to look like the screenplay. If you had holes in the screenplay, you're going to have a really hard time putting that thing back together. You know?
This is the Norman England podcast. I remember now. Yes.
Actually, it was Academy podcast.
Academy, yes. Sorry, yes. Yeah. Yes, that's right. Yeah, it could have been the Norman England, since he's a film chappie, but yes.
Yeah, I worked with him too, so if you want to ask questions about that, but yeah.
So yeah, so basically but you did mention in that video that, from where I got that idea for the question, that you said Japan is ideal for guerrilla filmmakers. Guerrilla with G-U-E-R as opposed to G-O-R-I.
Best to film with gorillas.
Yeah. But I mean, would you not have considered that route, or are you to no? I want 35mm cameras, and I want a dolly, and I want a grip, and and I want sound man, and all this business.
It does really help to have production value on some of your pieces. I mean, because amateur quality will drive away a lot of people. I mean, they will take it. I mean, especially if you want to get noticed from bigger name people, like they'll appreciate that you actually put the time into using a dolly or using whatever. But I guess it also depends too what kind of story you're telling and what, fits the storytelling, right? Like, for lack of a better example, Adam Sandler, right?
Yeah.
Adam Sandler made 2 animated movies. One was called 8 Crazy Nights, which is like the only Hanukkah movie ever made, I think. Because there's not many movies on Hanukkah, mostly all just about Christmas. And that animation style just does not match Adam Sandler's humor. I mean, as horrible as Adam Sandler's humor is nowadays, I mean, like, because they're just made for the sake of paying people, I feel. But that animation style doesn't fit his humor. Whereas something like Hotel Transylvania, where it's like, it's quick, it's fast paced, it's always moving, that's more complementary to his sense of humor. So it's like, what I'm saying here is, like, if you're shooting a movie and it requires like a guerrilla shot, then use it. Or something that helps tell a story in a way that you could use.
So that the whole film, not the whole film is somebody with a Super 8 camera running around. Kind of thing.
Don't make it a drama about somebody breaking up with their girlfriend in the dark, in Shibuya Crossing, with the shaky cam. That's what I want to see. That could be interesting. Who knows? I mean, if you had a nice edge to it, but who knows?
Bernie asked, does Adam Sandler have any humor? I have no idea.
I want to say that he did towards the beginning, but maybe he didn't. Who knows? All right. Is it my turn?
It's your turn, yes.
All right. Okay. So, I'm a bit confused. What got you started with three old dudes?
What got me
Like,
started?
you met because I was watching a couple of your videos, and you said somebody named Raina introduced you to the whole community.
Somebody named
you
Rainer. So you did not go further and research. Comical Rainer.
Comical Raina. Like, you just kept saying Raina, and I'm like, I type in Raina, and this Raina Scully character pops up. And I mean, like, she's a really big YouTuber too.
Yeah.
So it's Comical Raina.
Type in Comical Rainer. Yeah.
All right, that helps. Comical Raina. It's like everybody else you've name dropped in like other videos. Like, oh, okay, I know who that is, and I know who this is. And, wait, what? Commercial Raina? Why does that come up?
No. Commercial. She was. She's getting. She always gets the links to this show. So.
Oh, okay. I don't know this lady. All right. Oh, has a pretty good following.
Yeah, I mean, she's now mostly focused on her self-constructed job, which is teaching English to Japanese, and she's going to Japan very shortly and meeting up with all of her sort of Skype students and that kind of thing, and all. So she's built quite a sort of a good business up from that. But originally, she was on Nico Nico. I mean, I didn't know her from there, but she'd, her friends in Vancouver were saying, you should try this. You should go on here. So she went on and found she enjoyed it doing live shows. But Nico Nico, she got lots of weird Japanese guys kind of like messaging her and stuff. And so she decided to come off there.
Though.
Yeah, but she came off there onto YouTube. And started to do the same thing, and the YouTube sort of in the West is not popularly watched by many Japanese people, so she got less attention from Japanese males and more attention from sort of otaku males, white. So I mean, yeah, so she became popular on there, and I happened to, by accident, really come across her.
It was like a random search.
Yeah, no, it was one of YouTube recommendation things that popped up.
That's a random search. Well, I guess you didn't search for it.
I didn't search for it specifically. I had expressed an interest in Japan. At the age of 45, I had expressed an interest in Japan on YouTube, and YouTube decided to throw up sort of recommendations.
Right.
So I clicked on it, and it was her doing a live show, and this was my first experience of seeing somebody on screen on YouTube with whom you could interact. I'm sorry, I'm not interacting very much with the audience at the moment, but so it is. But I mean, that was it. You could talk to the person on screen via chat, and they would see it and respond to you. So it was real time response.
For some context, what year was this?
This was 2000. Help me out, Robert. I think it was 2012, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So YouTube Hangouts had just started, kind of thing, as a thing. So
kind of like when I disappeared from YouTube.
Yeah.
My last video.
Yeah, you kind of had a hiatus, and I filled the vacuum. So 2013. Great. Thank you, Robert. But yeah, so that's seeing her, and then I would watch her along with other people in the audience here, like Frederick and Robert. We would watch regularly, and we become friends with people in the comments. I mean, friends in the sense of you would see each other every week in the comments, and she established a kind of little community. And
so Comical Raina knew everybody else in the J-vlogging community. Is that right?
Well, she because of doing this live hangout, certain sort of slightly more high-profile J-vloggers noticed her, gave her a shout-out, subscribed to her, and sort of there was interaction. They got in touch. People like Victor, Give Me a Flake Man, and Caffeine Jedi, people like that. They all got to know her, and eventually she started doing another show with a guy from Kyushu. So she was doing her own show once a week, and a joint show on a Sunday, and I was watching both. And then for Christmas of 2013, she said to the guests, we're thinking of having a Christmas special, inviting some of the audience on.
I remember that.
Yeah, so
I think I saw that.
About 10 of us decided, got the chance to be on, including Robert in the audience here and Dean and a few others whose names I can't remember anymore. And we went on. We were only on for like a couple of minutes, and it was all very structured. We got like a couple of minutes live with her on screen and interacting with the audience. And I enjoyed it so much that afterwards I decided, yes, I'd like to try and do this. But I was I didn't have the balls, basically, to put it honest, to do it on my own. So I looked at who could I ask, and I didn't feel confident enough to ask people younger than me. So I thought, it reminded me it was more sensible to ask people my age. And the only two people my age that I'd seen were Robert and Dean. So I
just Googled, I got to find two other old dudes.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Bye, Asagi. See you.
Yeah. Oh, so we didn't get to talk about what Asagi wanted to listen to. Oh, well.
Sorry. Yes.
You can listen to the podcast on iTunes. You can click the link in the description. That doesn't exist yet.
We'll have a brief discussion of the party at the end of the show. and
by the time you hear this on iTunes, the link will be ready. So,
basically, that inspired me to do it, and I think our first show, Robert, Dean, and I lasted about nearly 2 hours, or if not 3 hours, with just us sort of having fun with the audience. And we decided then to cut it back to about an hour. And then sort of the rest is history, as they say.
Que es muy interesante. I don't know. What else do I say? I mean, no, it was interesting. I mean, it's always good to learn origin stories because that's what people like, I mean, that way you get a clearer picture of who somebody is.
But I mean, you said you were kind of on a sabbatical then at that period. So yes, you wouldn't have come across it because it was a big thing. All people started doing. I mean, 2.5 Ayages had been going about a year before we started, and then Rainer was doing it, and then loads of people started doing it, and Unrested did it, and it sometimes did a joint hangout with Tokyo Sam and Tikio Sam rather, and all that, and then it kind of fizzled out for a lot of them, but we kept going.
Right. All right. Is it your turn? I think it's your turn.
It's my turn. It's my turn. I shall. Staying with the theme of coming to Japan. And,
yeah, sure.
And everything. I'll just go here.
It's the namesake of the show, or our shows, or my show.
Yes. Whatever. There we go. Watch out for the owl. Did he see the owl? No, he's cleaning his glasses. He didn't see the owl. The owl will come any second.
No. My glasses keep getting steamed up here from because it's so warm in this room. I mean, because I decided I'm going to turn off the air conditioner because I use it way too much. Now my glasses keep getting steamed up, and I don't want to put my contacts because they get all watery and everything. So anyway.
Oh, here comes the owl again. There we are. So
anyway.
This is one of the reasons you came to Japan, I believe.
Stephen Colbert.
Who? What?
You never saw? Stephen Colbert? He always has an eagle. Oh, it's an eagle. It's not an owl. I guess it falls more to the Twin Peaks style. The owls are not what they seem. Anyway, continue.
I'm trying to read my writing. Yeah, so I mean, you came to Japan via Temple University as a squeaky young 22-year-old or 20-year-old. But what were you studying?
I was studying communications, which was an emphasis on movies, which is kind of cool. I mean, it was kind of whatever, but I mean, I got to meet a lot of cool people. Some who I'm still really well in touch with. Some I'm not. I'd like to still be in touch with, but because they're busy, I can't really get in touch with them. But yeah, I mean, that's what I studied, communications. I graduated. It was also the easiest. degree to graduate from, to graduate with. Like art, you'd be stuck there all year. Business, you'd want to pull out your eyes and kill yourself. The rest of or general studies was okay. I mean, if you just wanted to graduate, but communications was good because you get to do what you get to watch movies and pretend to make movies, and graduate. Hooray! And you get a degree out of it.
Oh, cool! I should have done that. I mean, I did video art instead. I mean, it's basically the same thing, but without the structure.
Yeah, video art's fun. I mean, I don't know if you're into, data moshing.
Data moshing? No.
Data moshing is kind of like what's going on with this eagle right now in the background. Like what it is sometimes you have like these images that fall apart, or they how would I describe it? They kind of like they materialize away, and then like it kind of mixes in with the background. Like that's kind of like data moshing.
As a form of video art. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, form of video art. Yeah, you can say that.
Yeah. I mean, in my day, it was 16mm and 8mm and VHS, and So So, would you say that
VHS?
VHS? Oh yes, VHS, not Betamax, VHS. You can imagine walking around with a like boombox sized camera on your shoulder in public, trying to look inconspicuous and make video art. But so
what's your question?
The question was was also initially to find out what you studied.
Okay. But you want to know more about that, or?
Yeah, I mean, in the sense of has it helped you in your current life in Japan, or a bit like my degree, where it's like
it has.
It's nice to have it, but it's can't.
I mean, I talk ill about everything, but I mean, yeah, I mean, I met some interesting. I guess well, maybe not. I mean, that's how I met Norman, really, because I mean, like once you become friends of another friend and somebody on Facebook, then you start seeing these other people on Facebook feeds. You're like, who's that? Like, what movie are you working on? And it was one of Norman's movies at the time. They all worked on some joint project through the school. But Norman was kind of a part of, not really. He kind of did like one of these. He hired a bunch of teenage kids, or not teenage, early 20-something kids, and have them in a horror movie called Feed Me, which was all right. I mean, it's entertaining. It's funny too. It has some Norman-esque humor. So I mean, I met a lot of people. I mean, that's what college is, really. It's just
networking.
It's a place to meet people and to experiment and try new things and make mistakes, just like Mrs. Frizzle said, and a magic school bus. We're back to children's books.
Okay. There's a theme going on here.
Yeah.
So I mean, but I mean, the crux of the question is, you came to study communications, and has it, and meet all these people, but has it helped you put the dinner on the table? That's what I'm trying to say. In Japan,
put the dinner on the table. You mean like make money off of it?
Yeah.
That's your saying?
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe the next Ronald Reagan. I don't know. I mean, because he was the great communicator.
Bob for president.
Yeah, right. That'd be an interesting episode of Twin Peaks. But anyway, yeah, no. I mean, I don't know. I work as an international school, and I do enjoy it. I do enjoy teaching kids and teach them writing. I mean, it's good for me because sometimes I learn things about how to teach good writing. Because sometimes you just see this awful writing and you're like, oh boy, how do I even fix this? Like, where do I even start with this? It's like, well, why don't I read a book about it? Or, well, why don't I think about it? Why don't I critically think about how to help him with this? You know, I guess, I don't know. I really didn't take many composition classes, like writing composition classes in Temple. I mean, I took some in like community college when I was in Colorado, but yeah. So basically, no, I don't really use the degree. I don't know.
No, it's like me. Mine's in a drawer over there, and I may use it one day, sort of to apply to go to Japan or something like that. But I mean, other than that, it's been of no use whatsoever, really, other than enriching my life at a certain point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't regret going to college. I mean, there were things that I did like, things that people of friends have made, who I still talk to today. So.
Yeah, it's a life experience, you know. But it was specifically. I mean, I saw the video where you said you didn't want to sort of go over in details, but lots of your viewers were asking why you came to Japan, and filmmaking was the motivating factor. And I was just curious because I hadn't really sort of dug so deeply as to why what you'd come to study really.
Yeah, no, it was just mostly...
Now I know, and now the viewers know, and possibly your viewers knew this already. But I mean,
congratulations!
Right, quick, audience clapping.
Yeah, right. I need to have that soundboard on blast. Where is that? No, wrong button. No. All right, turn that off. All right, here we go. Yay, there we go. You know, it's kind of interesting in the chat right now. Believe in Yourself says, I actually looked like a J-vlogger to my first trip to Japan with a Sony 8mm video camcorder. That reminds me of a film by Wim Wenders called Tokyo Ga. Have you ever seen it or heard of it?
I've heard of Wim Wenders, but not of that particular film. No.
Yeah, no, he made a if you can get your hands on it, it's kind of hard to find. Wim Wenders made a like he just walked around with a camcorder around Japan, and he just recorded his experiences. And he met up with another German filmmaker, Werner Herzog, if you know who that is.
Yes, I know. It's okay.
Yeah. And they talked about being there, and it's very interesting. I mean, just seeing Japan in the 80s, and you get this kind of vicarious experience. It's like J-vlogging before J-vlogging existed. So. It's worth seeing. I mean, if you can get your hands on it, it's hard to find. I mean, at least in America, I had to illegally torrent it just to get it. You know, it's like it wasn't available anywhere. It wasn't at my school. I mean, even though they had a huge library of like older movies, it wasn't at the video store I worked at. You know, it's hard to find.
Yes, that's the problem with the obscure, stuff.
Yeah.
So whose turn is it now? I've lost track.
It's me.
Okay.
All right, it's my turn. All right, so. Oh yeah. Okay. This here's an interesting one. All right. Do you ever find making these podcasts kind of, I guess not podcast interviews? Do you ever find it kind of grating at times?
Grating? Generally, no. I mean, there is a pressure on that there wasn't with the three old dudes in order to make it comfortable for the host, for the guest rather. For the host, it's very easy to be comfortable, but the kind of there's people who in fields which I'm not entirely familiar with, and it forces me to do quite a lot of background research. So in that sense, it's not so sort of laid back and easy as Three Old Dudes was, where we just turned up and got the people on, and we'd seen their videos on YouTube, we knew what they did, and we could just shoot the shit. But now there's a bit more work involved, so sometimes I kind of I've put myself under pressure. But luckily, so far, I mean, it's all gone very, very smoothly. So touch wood. I will carry on with that.
Okay.
I can throw that question right back at you.
Yeah, no, you should, because it's partially kind of something I wanted unfold here or unpack. Because sometimes I feel like when I make these shows, it's just sort of like you feel like, what's the phrase? You feel like you're spinning at some point. You know what that means?
Yeah, you're kind of like lost for words and not quite sure what you're going to say next. That kind of thing. No.
Not that quite. I mean, just sort of like a lot of people in Japan, a lot of them quit English teaching because they just feel like their life's not going anywhere. And they feel like that there's no real, like, what's the point? That sort of thing. It's very nihilistic in a way, right? And there has been a few times that I've been doing this podcast where I have felt very nihilistic about, like, why am I doing this? You know, it's so much work, and it's just like the rewards with it are very minimal. You know, I know this is very negative, but I mean, sometimes it's better to, like, understand. I mean, the thing I like about philosophy is philosophy in a way. Philosophy is not about happiness. You know, it's not about being happy.
It's not seeking.
It's about
or anything. It's digging deeper. Yeah.
The part of reason why I'm always reading and like reading about new philosophers and old philosophers all the time is mostly just to be enlightened, to like learn and understand new things about myself, or, you know, I guess meaning to life. You know, I kind of have like, you know, going through these existential crises and sort of, you know, making this podcast seem like it's something that adds something to my life, you know, opposed to something I'm just doing for the sake of just doing because a huge, I don't know, machine or huge god of some kind is telling me to constantly make this thing, you know. Because sometimes I feel like the pressure of society or the pressure of YouTube or the algorithm or whatever kind of has me down to this point where it's like, no, just make something. You know, you don't enjoy it, just make it. You know, just do it. You know, where it's like a couple of years ago, like 2015, 2016, you notice that like on my YouTube channel, I didn't upload that very much.
No, you kept having videos where you say, "Hi, I'm back."
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a real no-no. You're like, and then you go back to me like, oh, okay, I guess you're taking a hiatus. All right. And I only really made those things when I felt like this feels good. This feels right. You know, I really get a lot of joy and happiness out of making something like this. Right. Whereas, I mean, some people have the philosophy, the idea that you should be making more and the rewards for it will come out later because you've made so much, and you'll be less depressed because you've made nothing, you know. I don't know. It's really hard for me to say because I'm just always, like, trying to find somebody who like could give me some sort of inspiration, or like, I mean, everybody always tells me the same thing. It's like you have to have discipline, or you need to just make stuff for the sake of making stuff.
Yeah,
and it just, it feels grating.
It's very, very. I mean, in Zen philosophy, in sort of, you know, fetching water, chopping wood, all that business, sort of just getting on with it, and Buddhism, you know, be the best at what you can be. You know, don't, you know. One of the things about Buddha where he that surprised me was that a criminal, a thief, came to the Buddha and asked him, you know, how he could be better and you know, how he could improve his life and blah blah blah, and the Buddha just told him to be good at being a thief, dude, and that kind of thing. Whereas yes, so that you're not loading yourself up with the pressures of trying to achieve something for the end, but you're living the experience. You're doing it. You're at the same time, you're not being a complete slacker, but you can be. You can be a very good slacker. Be the best slacker you can be, or you know, it depends. I mean, certain things occur in your life. And I don't know if Mickey's in earshot, but I mean, there is, you know, you sort of hook up and eventually have kids, and those kind of things occur, and you go through them. Some people will say that that's you know, the point of life, or fulfilling, and blah blah blah. You know, but for me, it kind of like something that overcame me, and I kind of rolled with it. Whereas it wasn't something that, you know, all around me were people saying, "Oh, yes, it's this, it's that, it's, you know, it's so you should look forward to it." And everybody was happy, and when it all happened, and sad when it, you know, when, you know, things like I got divorced and all that business. But to me, it's like I'm on a trip, you know, and I'm occupying this body and this mind, and it will cease to exist at a certain point, whether or not what it's doing, you know, achieves something, or is, you know, as long as I'm not hurting anybody along the way, I think it's kind of you know, what you do until you pop your clogs.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I guess there's also the Buddhist philosophy of like to want nothing is pleasure, or how's it go? To want is pain, or I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, well, basically the Buddhist philosophy of extinguishing all desires, you know, which is nirvana, which you know, and unless you're into tantric Buddhism, the left-hand path anyway, and then it's engaging in all desires in order to sort of satiate them and what have you. But for the higher purpose, I think it was just an excuse. But yeah, there we go. But
I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about this. If you don't, just, you know, give me the bot sign or something. You have a kid, right?
Sure.
So do you ever feel like your life feels more complete now that you have a kid? Because some people have told me, like, the best thing about having kids is that you have this feeling that, like, wow, my life feels like it has meaning now. It's important. Do you ever feel that way?
No. Well, I don't know whether I've said this before ever, but once my first son was born, I thought, oh well, I'm going to die now. I know that I know that I'm going to die. I know that I am mortal. You know, that as a physical being, as a
dark,
as a mammal, you know, sort of not as this. When you're in your teens and your 20s, and your sort of life is like this sort of opening up before you, and things are, it's all exciting and energetic, and you know, unless you're sort of people like us who have dark thoughts and think about philosophy, but most people are like, oh yeah, you know. And then at a certain point, you know, things happen. You get married, have kids, blah 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 blah, and you know, and you base your happiness on you know, what level you've reached, and so on. But I kind of got to the stage where yes, this is just how living organisms function in this universe, and I'm stuck with it. There's nothing else I can do about it. You know, like I said before, you just roll with it. So I mean, yeah, I don't know whether that is motivational or inspiring or depressing.
No, I mean, I don't know. Do you ever feel like, I mean, this is, I can't believe I'm asking about God. Do you believe in like God or whatever? Do you believe there is a God or gods?
It's probably I believe in whatever. But I mean, no, God,
in whatever. I guess I'd have to say the same thing. It's just sort of like,
no. I mean, there are too many, too many. It's all contradictory, and if each sort of person who follows a particular religion says, yes, but you know, it essentially boils down to the same thing. Except we'll kill each other over the details. Then you look at what you try to dig deep into religion and find out what it is that's the same thing, and nobody can come up with anything. It's all kind of like chasing shadows. And
I mean, do you ever really think about this kind of stuff, or not really?
Oh,
it's like,
well,
whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, live life.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about this since about the age of 15.
Okay, good. All right, good. We're on the same page.
Yeah, great. So I mean, I went to philosophy evening class after school at the age of 15. So, you know, most of the people went to the pub and that sort of thing. I did go to the pub eventually, but I mean, yeah.
I think I was something around the same time. I started reading Albert Camus' The Stranger and Myth of Sisyphus and all that stuff. around that age as well.
You still have to read Joseph Campbell. I remember he said that was a bit heavy, but I mean,
yeah,
I would read
Joseph Campbell there.
I mean, you've read The God of a Thousand Faces, but yeah, if you read Masks of God, that's quite good. And have you read Fraser's Golden Bough?
Fraser's Golden Bough? No, I haven't seen that one.
No, that's early 20th century. But basically, if you read it, it's basically reads like a catalogue. But it just shows all the interconnections and origins of mostly European belief systems, from pagan to what existed in pagan times, and that was carried forward by what was assimilated into Christianity and so on. Yeah, it's basically a list, but it's good to read. If you're into that thing. Yeah, but yeah. So
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I read philosophy to be enlightened, because sometimes it helps me understand life better.
I read it to fall asleep at night.
That too. Usually I just use YouTube and put on like Vaporwave or something to fall asleep to. But all right, each their own.
That and Japanese authors, but they're a bit
Japanese
grim.
Oh, God.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe a book on tape would be all right. Probably make it through it. All right, I believe it's your turn.
All right. Okay. We'll stay with a happy theme.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, I can do dark and depressing all night.
Okay, let's go dark and depressing. In one of your videos, you mused on the fact that Japan was dying. This was 2010. This was events, and you were tired when you did it, I believe. That Japan was dying. It was just it was an offhand remark that was not further elucidated upon towards the end of the very short video. But I mean, we all know the demographic crisis, blah blah blah. But this was 2010, and I don't know whether you've obviously living there. You're in the thick of it. Would you say that it has it significantly? Has it significantly changed or developed or got worse or better?
Well, I don't know. Japan is a really bizarre place. It really is. Because I mean, when you think about it, Japan is a place where it's close to the international date line, so it's usually always tomorrow, like when it's like yesterday in like America.
You're always in the future relative to me.
Yeah. So you're always in the future. Yet, like when you're here in Japan, like some of the newer American movies that come out, like big name titles, I mean, not even just from America, maybe Europe as well. They don't really make it to Japan ever. But like, whereas you see places like Hong Kong or the Philippines or South Korea, and they're already there, And it's just some of that. Just I mean, I know the reason why they do this. A lot of the reason why they do it is because, one, they want to see how well the film does. So they don't risk bringing in some foreign film that just tanks at the box office, so nobody loses all this money. Two is they want to keep their domestic film market going. I'm pretty sure. Maybe that's just speculation. I'm not 100% sure on that one. But that's part of the reasons. And one of those things, like, I don't know, there's also like some progressive feelings, like how stuff in America, like how, this change with like marijuana, people are some states are legalizing, like the state I'm from, Colorado. The sort of, what would you say? The gay marriage, LGBT progression in America has been very strong, like also Europe as well. And sometimes I just are like, and more recently today, like the whole Me Too movement, a lot of this stuff is slowly getting to Japan, but it doesn't quite like, hit it. It takes a while. Like for a lot of things to just like come in to, like, because I guess maybe it's the island culture philosophy. I'm not sure, but sometimes it just feels like, come on, guys, just get on with it. It's like, this is what the rest of the world is doing. And they're like, no, we're going to do our own thing. We got this. We already got the old stuff. this is good enough. And I mean, maybe it is, maybe it's not. And part of me makes it seem like it's like, do you not want to keep with the times, or do you want to keep with the times? And it just sort of feels like, even though I live in the future, it's like everything else is going faster in the other parts of the world. Like I'm learning about other things, other countries.
You're living in Fallout New Tokyo.
Right. I mean, so it's, I don't know. Like that's just, it gives me that feeling sometimes. It's like, come on, like let's get on with the rest of the world. But is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I'm not really, I'm not qualified to say something like that. I don't think. But I mean, nowadays I'm very comfortable living here. I mean, just all the crap I need, read the newspaper every day. It's like, oh man, I'm glad I'm not in the States anymore.
Yeah, so. yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I live in Belgium, which is not the most exciting places on earth, but
at least you got them beers.
Yeah, I've got beer and chocolate and no Brexit. Waffles. So I mean, it's
wait. Oh yeah, that's right. No Brexit. That's right. Yeah, I'll ask you about that in a bit.
Well, you can ask me now, really. Yes, if you like.
All right. So wait, what brought you to Belgium? Why are you there?
Why am I here? I'm here because of a Belgian lady that I met in England, and it's simple as that. Yeah, and case closed. She came to England. Yeah, she came to England, stayed with me for 2 years, and I was living out in the middle of nowhere, very scenic, but not very useful for finding work. And she had work already here, and friends. So she decided to go back, and I followed, and been here ever since. Yeah, basically. Yeah.
So you like living there, though?
It's okay. I mean, it's sort of like England, but they speak Dutch and French. So it's on the level. It's on the level economically and socially and technologically. And
can you speak one of those, Dutch or French?
I can speak Dutch, read it.
Okay.
It and all that business, write it.
Okay, but I've heard that's a hard language. I don't know one word of Dutch.
No, I wouldn't say it's particularly hard if you have a basic school knowledge of German, for example. It's all connected, and English.
Is there lots of articles and everything?
Yeah, and just
because like whenever I look at like German, like the German language, just there's so many like articles, and there's so many like male, female.
No, well, the thing with Dutch is there's no male, female. It's genderless.
Okay.
Generally speaking, it's genderless. Not the Belgians. I mean the language. So yeah. So it's fairly simple in that sense. I mean it's not as simple in that sense as Japanese, but then it's you only have to learn one set of letters and
no, sometimes you sit down at the Japanese language when you're studying it and you're like, why did they do this? Why? It's like Chinese makes sense. Okay, I understand why that got created. Korean makes sense, they have their own alphabet. Japan, like, what? Like, why do you have 3 alphabets?
Yeah.
Why is it partially like Chinese but it's not? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. Sometimes, like, when studying languages, any languages for that matter, sometimes I get so frustrated where I'm just like, why do people do this? It's like, why can't everybody just speak one language? Make this so much easier.
Esperanto. Japanese Esperanto. There we go.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying it's bad. I think people should have their culture and people should have their what they have, and they should have it. It should be theirs.
So yeah, that was me throwing a question back at you, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So you're asking about if I thought Japan was dying.
So it's technically.
I don't know. I want to say that the fully answer that question, in all sincerity, I don't know. That's just my shit. How old was I? That was like 2010. It's like when I was in my early 20s. When you say lots of stupid stuff, like saying I'm invincible. I can drink 40 beers and not get a hangover. It's awesome.
Yeah, I don't need to go to bed at night at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I can survive off 2 hours of sleep and go to work. It's awesome. All right. Well, does that mean it's my turn? I guess it's my turn.
It's your turn. Yeah.
All right. Something a little light. Do you love green screens? What is it about your show and the green screen?
I have come to love my green screen. I mean, before I had the green screen, I would go all out and have plants and have backdrops sort of assembled, usually of varying forms of cloth and photographs. Just I mean, this is my wall. So I mean,
green screen takes you places.
Yeah, green screen can take me places. It can take me to this. Right. Well, we're coming to the end of the show. We've been going for nearly 2 hours, for God's sake. This is
Jesus Christ.
Yes, this is what you do. We've doubled up. It's like 2 for the price of 1. This is quickly what you can do with the green screen. There we go. And you have to tell me what I was watching last night.
Green screen, what you're watching last night?
Mm-hmm. What was I? What film? Of your 30 favorite films was I watching?
Oh, do you want me to tell you which one that is? I know it just from seeing a couple of clips of it.
Yeah,
that's Rashomon.
Yeah, that's Rashomon, which I'd seen Seven Samurai, so and I thought I might.
You never saw Rashomon? That's a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one. Yes, I did watch it in its entirety last night. But so I can do that with the green screen, which would have been extremely difficult in the 3 old dudes days. You know, I would have had to have done screen share with the Hangout thing, and this is a lot. I mean, thanks to Robert and the free gift of this free Manycam app. Not sponsored. I can do this. It has its glitches. I mean, like yesterday, I was going to do this test hangout with a friend for next week, and Manycam decided to update, and as it did, it caused my computer to switch off entirely. So I had to, just before I was about to do the hangout with this chap. So it has its ups and downs, but generally, yeah, green screens just make up for my empty moments.
Interesting.
If you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean.
Force of my personality is balanced by.
Wait! What? Flawed your personality?
No, the force.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Force, not the flaw.
Oh,
there may well be a flaw in my personality. I don't know. It probably is.
Flaws. That's when the stuff gets interesting. Talking about flaws.
Oh God.
It is. I don't know. It's because you start to learn things. I mean, not to put you on the spot here, like
Oh well, I mean, it's fairly obvious, probably to the audience as well, and to everybody. It's flaws in personality and the internet and YouTube. there would be yes. It's basically it's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but open to everybody. If you get my drift.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's the internet. I mean, once upon a time, you could walk in your street, and the trolls and the nutters were sort of anonymous. You could get on a bus, and if you were unlucky, you would sit next to the nutter on the bus. But now you just have to. Yeah, you just have to sort of plug on. Go onto Facebook, Twitter, God knows what, and they're all there. And we are amongst them and them, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
At one time you were screened from all that, but now you're in the thick of it.
Yeah, I don't know. My real love for green screens came when I started watching stuff. I mean, you probably hate me for making you watch something like this, but. Watching stuff like Tim and Eric, where they kind of like, they really go, I don't even know how to describe it, like a different dimension with using the green screen. Like where it's just sort of like they showed you things they use with the green screen that just that'll just give you a headache. and like things that will, things that, you know, like, I guess you could do that, but it's really awkward. But then you realize, wait a minute, this is kind of art in a way, where it's like using a green screen, where the art of awkwardness, and how like sometimes green screens, they can take you places where you don't want to go, and then sometimes you have crappy green screens where you can tell it's obviously a green screen, but there is some sort of I guess like kind of a feeling to it, like a sense of feeling, like a how do you describe this? Like a fake aesthetic, like you feel like you're there, but you're not.
Well, yes, that's Simon no茶の間 in a nutshell. He fake aesthetic.
Oh man, don't say that.
Here is the real green screen. There we go.
Yeah,
which I often do on the show. But I mean, as we approach the end,
yeah,
hint.
Yeah.
How's your penguin, Bob? I'm not quite sure.
Penguin? What penguin is that? I don't know what that's referencing. All right. Do you have any more questions? You want to lightning round them since we got to get going? I got 2 more.
Okay. But we had a brief glimpse of one of your 30 favorite films. This was from 2010, and you were enthusiastically standing on your side, telling us all about them.
Yeah.
Does this?
I thought it was artsy.
Does this list still hold? And how many have been added? Roughly.
Oh yeah, the list still holds. I mean, I still relatively like those movies. I don't think I'd really add any, because I mean, I don't really see new movies like, wow, that's going on my list of my favorite movies of all time. I could go to my Letterbox. You know Letterbox?
No, this is another app that I'm unfamiliar with.
It's great. I mean, I don't know. What's great about it is you can just put all the movies you've seen on there, and you can always keep track of them, like what to see, what next to see. It's great. Not saying you need to join it. I'm just saying it's a great way of keeping track of what you're going to see and what you're not going to see.
Film consumer.
Let's see. What did I just recently see? Anything here good? I don't know. I think really what a lot of it is that you kind of reach a plateau with your influence after a certain stage. Because I think like the last big influence on me as like in terms of artistic, you know, copying, I guess you could say, people I actually want to physically copy, are mostly YouTubers and people like Tim and Eric. And that's about it. I can't think of any like nuanced filmmakers nowadays. So like saying, wow, I want to be just like that. You know, there's nobody out there nowadays that just strikes a chord with me.
Bye, Bernie.
In terms of like film. Who's leaving? Bernie? Oh, bye, Bernie. I don't know who Bernie is. Is that totally Oh, that is totally ASMR.
Yeah. So yeah, so that would explain the procrastination in your attempts at being stuck in the car with the script in the glove box. There's nothing other than the YouTube and that there's nothing at the moment that grabs you by the balls and says, "Hey, whoa, come on, let's make a movie."
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's maybe why I've moved on more to the YouTube stuff, because I find it more entertaining, more.
I don't watch television anymore. I just watch YouTube. And my son's
right.
Yeah.
Who watches TV anymore?
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's like a TV show that's like serialized or something, like on Netflix or whatever. All right.
Okay, you quick fire question from you now.
All right.
2 minutes to go.
This is a heavy question.
Oh shit!
Is the age of the personality channel on YouTube dead?
Is the age of the personality channel on YouTube dead? I wouldn't know, because I don't really go to YouTube for personalities. In terms of J-floggers, like the crowd that you knew in the beginning, and then the crowd that I knew while you were on sabbatical, it seems to be getting that way. There's the third wave that's coming up is seems to be finding it slightly more difficult to get a foothold. I mean, I'm just talking about the J-vlog scene here. That I mean, I generally do not watch YouTube, if I completely ignore, trending and recommendations and all that business. So
Right.
I couldn't really say, because I don't watch, big figures on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say, yeah, it's for the hello, Vids of your mom.
Vids of your mom.
Vids of your mom. We both watch a chap called Rambalak on YouTube. He does. He walks. He's a Russian guy who walks around various parts of Tokyo and so on, just with his camera and no commentary. It's very relaxing. It's sort of like ASMR but on video in Japan. But yeah, so I kind of watch those kind of things and not personalities, which is ironical considering I have this personality.
All right.
doing my show, and you're doing yours. So we're dead. We don't know it.
The only reason why I say that is because, what is it? PewDiePie, right?
Vaguely, yes. Sort of famous.
PewDiePie, he was, and he no longer is, the most subscribed personality channel. Now it's just some Indian channel that plays YouTube videos of like Indian Bollywood stuff, right? The stuff you see like when you go into like an Indian restaurant and they're just playing random Indian videos in the background. Or at least that's what I always see whenever I go to Indian West restaurants in Japan. Got to have my Indian food. Oh
yeah.
So, so I mean, there's stuff like that. I mean, that kind of worries me in a way because I feel like you had the whole thing with Ajit Pai, the human pie man, who decided the FCC in America can, they can do whatever they want,
Yes, yeah, sort of like, oh God, what was that? Something to do with like kind of like censorship, sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what it pretty much did was it pretty much allowed somebody to say, "Hey, well, if you want this superpower, well, you can have it. There you go. Congrats." Anyway, I just wanted to get your 2 cents in that because, like, every time I go on YouTube, I always see the stuff where it's like recommended for you. Right? Like, oh, that looks interesting. Like, I'll watch this video about some guy analyzing Doraemon from Indonesia. Before I know it, I'm like, wait, how did I get here? What happened? Like, I should have watched my other friends on YouTube.
I have 4 YouTube channels for filtering that. I mean, so if I don't want my main channel clogged up, recommendations clogged up with stuff I really don't want to watch, I go to my other YouTube channel and get it clogged up on there for a while, go back to my main channel and do it like that. I mean, I'm curious about Hiko Simon's My Chan TV, whether that would be a better filter.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get the dopamine rushes from My Chan yet. I need to start using it more. It's like Facebook, YouTube. They know what they're doing. They know how to get the dopamine rushes out of me. It's like for me to go up to
like this video, people. Like it and thumbs up and subscribe to Adri. He needs some dopamine.
No, that's true. It is some good dopamine. Just a real quick one. There are a few filmmakers I like nowadays who I do want to copy. I was wrong. I was looking at this list now. I do really like Sean Baker. Sean Baker did a movie where he shot an entire film with an iPhone called Tangerine. Tangerine takes place in Los Angeles about 2 transvestites who break up or something. Very, very good movie. And I also like Mark and Jay Duplass movies. They're kind of this new kind of genre called mumblecore, where it's just a bunch of people just mumbling in a room, and then there's no. I mean, it's really interesting. It's like ASMR, basically. It's like ASMR before ASMR was a thing.
I'm just imagining. I mean, because Mickey has to sit and enjoy you doing your Cuphead videos. I mean, imagine sat next to you while you're watching mumblecore videos, and she's going.
Yeah, well, I don't know. They're very interesting. If you're going to watch any of them, watch Creep. That's the best one. It's on Netflix.
That sounds ideal.
Yeah. They're like these movies that are like really low budget. but they have very good dialogue scenes, and you really, I think it's more of like a visceral experience, which is what makes stuff like YouTube and like stuff like this mumblecore stuff very interesting.
Hmm. Well, I sometimes watch railway modeling videos.
Hey, to each their own.
Yeah. Well, we've rounded and gone past the 2-hour mark. Can you believe it?
Yeah, is this a first for your show?
This is a first. I've managed an hour and a half before, I think. But this, yes, it's very good going.
You out of questions?
There's nothing left on this piece of paper, apart from one quick question, which was,
Yeah.
do you prefer film or video if you make your films?
Yeah, I really haven't used much of film, so I'm guessing video because it's easier, it's faster, it's cheaper. It's more accessible. I mean, I don't know. Like, I have a camera, I have a DSLR, and I'm always like, nah, that thing's too heavy, man. I just want to use my iPhone. Make this quicker. You know, I'd like to have a DSLR grade camera that's like the size of my iPhone or something someday.
Oh well, that will come probably at some point. Yes.
Yeah.
Then you know, when you're in your 50s, you'll have to sort of get out of your car and go up the icy road.
Yeah. To go back to that metaphor.
Well, there we are, folks. I mean, I'm winding up my Bob will probably carry on indefinitely if he could switch to his channel. And
no, I'm going to call quits for tonight. I'm not going to switch to my channel. There is one more question, I guess, if you want to lightning round it, or if you really got to go, we can save it for the next
I'm going. No, it's Sunday afternoon. I'm fine.
All right, last question. What's the best way to ask people to be on your show?
The best way,
yeah. Because I don't know, there's like certain people I want to have on my show, but I can't tell you how nervous I am about asking them. I'm a nervous wreck when like thinking I got to be very careful about what I say. You know, otherwise I'm going to hate myself for like months. You know, if I don't say the right thing.
Well, from your perspective, you've been sort of on the scene, like Tokyo Kuni and Runny and all these people from way back. And you know, I've seen your face pop up at YouTube Hanami parties endlessly. As they wander around and you say, "Hi, I'm Radri," and then they go up
and be like, "Hey, check out my channel. It's kicking on my weird ideas." Right.
But I mean, yeah. So I would say you would have plenty of connections, and it's that really that's helped me. That's how, for example, with Three Old Dudes, it got started. I became friends with Raina, and through her, I became friends with Caffeine Jedi, who came on the show, and I'm now actually personal friends with her. I've been to her wedding, and when she has a baby, she and her husband are going to sort of pop round on their way to Germany, sort of thing. So that kind of thing, you know, like networking, really. So yeah, if you've got somebody you want to have on your show that sort of certainly in the J-vlogging community, the name dropping basically is what I'm trying to say. I mean, and they can then back check. You know, if you give them, you know, you can say to them, oh, you know, check with so and so. You know, I mean, for example, Eric Surf 6. I mean, he knows. I'm friends with Victor and I'm friends with Mully, and he's friends with them. So he could sort of just talk to them and say, you know, this Simon guy is he a nutcase or is he all right, and or whatever. So give them something that you know they can feel, you know, that they're
so having a friend of a friend really helps.
Yeah, that really helps. Other than that, being as polite as possible.
Yeah, that really helps.
You know, yeah, just networking as well. If you want to have people on that are not J-vloggers, not YouTubers, then that's something I would like to do as well. I'm lucky now. I've got a couple of new guests coming up who are nothing to do really with YouTube,
Nice.
But
those are the ones I'm looking for. But I mean, not saying there's anything wrong with YouTubers. It's just always something kind of fresh, you know,
to broaden it. Yeah. So like Vincent V. Mom says, you've got to provide references, and also provide kind of references for example, one of the people I had on a couple of weeks ago, my friend, the singer friend from Hong Kong, she recommended to me a Japanese dramaturge from a drama school. So I looked this person up, and I thought, how on earth? I mean, she doesn't know her; she just has heard of her. And how on earth would I? So I haven't done anything about that, but it's difficult, yes, to approach people. You've got to give them some kind of background. You've got to sort of kind of make your show seem legit and interesting, and what you've done. You've got to have like Vids of Your Mom says, you've got to provide references, kind of thing, for those kind of people. You know, like you say, if you put your foot, you'll just have to sort of bite the bullet. And if they don't respond, you'll just have to strike them down. Well, that's not going to work. It happens with YouTubers as well. I mean, I went through Tokyo Lens to try and get currently Hannah on the show, but she said yes. I put her in a corner, really. I asked on a live hangout of Tokyo Lenses. I asked him in comments, could he, because I'd asked him before privately, and he said, "Oh,
you ordered the cat dies."
Yeah, yeah. He kind of said to her, "Oh well, Simon's in comments and he's asking. I'll ask for you." And so she said, "Oh yes," and then she later on she kind of got back to me eventually, and basically it was no. So yeah, that does happen. So you've got to be prepared for a bit of failure, but don't let it get you down.
Okay. Yeah, no. Actually, that's some pretty good advice there. Actually, that was pretty fruitful. I thought maybe it would just be one of these things where like you ask for advice and you hit the same old talking points and the same old things. But yeah, that is true. I guess I never really thought about that. You kind of have to build some rapport in a way with people before you can just say like, "Hey, you want to be on this creepy podcast with me where I ask you a bunch of condescending questions?" Like, yeah, that's totally up my alley.
Yeah, I mean, anyway. Just basically, be yourself. And be yourself, and then file off the sharp edges.
All right, is that it?
That's basically file off the sharp edges, people. That's our advice at the end of the show. File off the sharp edges.
All right.
I would like to thank Radri, we should call him by his YouTube name, for joining me on the Simon no茶の間 show, which will be appearing on Why Come Japan
on iTunes. I should say for our iTunes listeners, this was a live recording on YouTube. You can be sure to give us a 5-star review. And tell us how you
may fast forward at any given point.
No, this is the best part. You got to wait for the nuances. You got to wait for the little tiny differences. I always listen to like the plugging stuff, just to wait for them to say something different. I'm like, he said but instead of as.
It goes on for 2 bloody hours.
No, I don't miss it. I don't miss it at all. I love that kind of stuff. I live for those moments. I'm always waiting for them to say it's like watching theater. Because you're so used to hearing the script, right? But you want to hear those little tiny differences. Maybe this is only something I like. I don't know. But.
So yes, we'll be on iTunes. This is my first appearance.
Be on iTunes. You can push the like button, give the 5 stars. Tell us about how great Simon's voice was.
And you may also subscribe to my channel. Next week on my channel, I shall be having a young composer. Originally from Hong Kong, now lives in Tokyo and has been here for about a year or so. And he produces his own material for video games for a company in Seattle, and also for anime projects. And he's involved with my singer friend in Hong Kong and her group. So yes, that should be quite interesting. I've got to think of questions for him in the coming week, but I shall.
I'll just say one thing about his guest: he's a hero.
Yes, that will become clear later on in the week when I get my advert done.
Yeah. Shit. What was I saying? Like, I'm shouting out, like, thanking everybody in the chat right now. Yeah. Oh, on my show next week, I won't be on my show. You have to check my social, either Facebook or Twitter or one of those. And I will be interviewing Mr. Shay Roberts. He does a little podcast here in Japan called Lone Star in. Oh, shit, it's too long. Lone Star in Japan Under the Sun.
Yeah. Podcast.
Fuck. I can't remember. Something podcast. It's on iTunes. It's pretty good. I love his voice. I'm going to totally, like, tell him about how great his voice is. He's got podcasting gold for a voice. I wish I had a voice like that.
Yes, we know Shay, says Robert. Yes, we know him. Yes, he's a very good guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, so he'll be on my show next week. You can either, if you don't want to look at my face and you'd like to just listen to my words to come out of my mouth, you can go to push those buttons and do the thing.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, and each of us shall see you next week. Thank you. Goodbye.
All right. See you next week, guys. Bye.